Chris Lee, Blake Lovell, and Blayne Gilmer continuing our series of bold predictions for SEC teams. Today we get to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Blayne, I'll start with you. Your bold prediction for Vanderbilt football in 2023.
Yeah, when watching through games from last year, you go through and you try to you get to jonesing for football season, right, Chris? You want to feel the excitement of the game against. I go on and I turn on some Vandy games and I see one little guy out here just popping all over the place. And it was Jayden McGowan. He reminded me of Isaiah McKenzie that played for Georgia, now is in the Buffalo Bills. They called him the human joystick. Well, I think Jayden McGowan can be that kind of guy. And I think he's going to be deadly in the return game for Vanderbilt. I think Clark Lee is a guy that he strikes me as someone who takes special teams very seriously, and I think they're going to utilize him well. And I think he's a guy that you could see, with their problems at running back in terms of depth wise. I think you could see him finding ways to give him the ball rushing wise and also use him in the slot. My prediction is Jayden McGowan, between special teams, catching the ball, and rushing the ball, has 1,500 total yards this year for Vanderbilt. Huge year for Jayden McGowan, Chris.
I think Jayden McGowan's going to be a big part of what Vanderbilt does. 1,500 is a lot, but these are called bold predictions for a reason. But Blayne, I'll tell you one thing that Jayden McGowan may have a little bit more of this year than he had last year. That's health. He revealed he had 2 health issues. One, I think, last year that he played through, and his numbers took a big dip late. So maybe health will help Jayden McGowan get there. So a little context for your prediction there. Blake, let's get yours.
All right. So A.J. Swann, we've all talked about him. This guy's got NFL potential. I think it's very clear when you just see, the skill set that's there and all of that. One thing, and this is going to tie into what Blayne said, but it also is nice to have a guy like Will Sheppard. And I know Chris has talked about there are some options there at that wide receiver position. And I think, to me, that means that A.J. Swann is set for a big season. And one of the reasons why is that Ray Davis is no longer there, and he's at Kentucky, which to me, one of the biggest mysteries we've talked about, I think, for Vanderbilt. And Chris, you may agree with this. One of the biggest questions for this team is what's going to happen at running back, right? Who's going to be the breakout guy? How are they going to replace that production? Well, I don't know the answer to that. And that's why I'm going to say that A.J. Swann finishes in the top 5 in the SEC in passing this season. So finishes as the top 5 quarterback in the league. If you're saying, who could he sort of eclipse? Because you can look around and be like, well, Joe Milton could put up numbers. Obviously there are other candidates out there, but I think this is one of those seasons where, because of the questions at running back and just waiting to see who the breakout candidate's going to be with the supporting cast he has at wide receiver, which I think this is a pretty talented group. I can see A.J. Swann becoming sort of, again, obviously top 5 in passing yards. If you want to equate that to saying he's a top 5 quarterback, that works for me too. But I think there will be some games with shootout potential for this Vanderbilt team because of the defense. I don't know how quickly that takes a big step forward. So I'll go A.J. Swann finishing top 5 in the SEC in passing yards.
I don't think that's a bad prediction. I think the receiving core is the best it's been in a decade. Will Sheppard is a real star for them. I think they're going to be throwing it more. I have questions about the running game. I also have questions about their ability to cover, which means, as you pointed out, they could be in some shootouts. All right, I've got one for you guys. The Vanderbilt schedule, let's look at this individually. Hawaii, week 0. We think Vandy wins that game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alabama A&M, week 2. We think Vandy wins that game?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Then let's go the rest of
I know where you're going here, and I almost thought about this one, but then it would have conflicted with one of my other bold predictions. So
at Wake Forest, week 3.
I think they'd be in it.
You could argue that. Yeah. Okay. At UNLV, 4th game, week 3. Since they play week 0, it's technically week 3. They're going to be favored in that one, right? Then they finish September with Kentucky and Missouri, one of which they beat a year ago, one of which they came that close to beating. Guys, do you know what the over-under for Vandy wins is this year?
4.5.
3.5.
3.5.
No.
My bold prediction is Vandy hits the over in September for its win total.
I like it. I like it a
They're
lot.
they're gonna have 3 barring something crazy, and I think they could get one of those 3 somewhere. Probably Wake is the one I like the best. But yeah, I'm not a gambler, but if you're gonna do something, that win total of 3.5, I think they could hit 3 pretty easily in September alone, which means they just have to win one more the rest of the season to go over. So anyway, that's my bold prediction for Vanderbilt football for 2023, and frankly, I don't think it's that bold.
Listen, I think there's a chance they're going into Gainesville on October the 7th with a chance to become bowl eligible, right?
Yeah.
Because beyond those first 4, like you said, Kentucky and Missouri are at home. I'm not saying they're going to start 5-1. I think the 2 SEC home games will be tough, and they've got to win the 2 road games, even against teams that I think they should be. But yeah, and we don't know what to expect from Florida. We've said that, so who knows?
I know what to expect from Florida. They're going to
okay.
awful.
That's another bold prediction. There's your segue, Chris. Nice transition.
Right. We will be doing bold predictions about the Gators and about every other SEC team. We've either done them already or we will be getting to them in the next day or 2. Best way to get those, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. By the way, don't take us too seriously, guys. We're guys that love football, love the SEC. We're having fun with this. So hope you like what we do. And again, hit the subscribe button. For Blake Lovell, for Blayne Gilmer, I'm Chris Lee of Southeastern 14. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.